Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and these are the top 15 hidden gems from 2023. This is a series of videos I do every single year, where as I creep into the next year, I take a look not at last year, but at a full year back, and try to give you, well, my thoughts and opinions on some of those games with a full minimum of a year, time for those thoughts to settle, for me to play those games, and in some cases as much as the full 2 years, depending on when in 2023 it came out. This is a series of at least 4 videos. Is going to be the hidden gems from 2023. That's this video over here. The top 10 games that have faded for me in 2023 that my opinion has dropped in some way. There's going to be the best 15 games from 2023, as well as the 15 games I most want to play from 2023 that I still haven't, although in some cases I own a bunch of them. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into this. Like I said already, these are the top 15 hidden gems. My criteria for this video was that they have to My criteria for this video is that they all have to be games that are ranked below the top 1,000 on Board Game Geek to be classified as hidden gems, and in the cases of all but one of them, they're actually ranked below the top 2,000 games of Board Game Geek. My number one pick on the list, my best game on this list over here, my number one, when we get to it, that's the only one that's actually underneath the 2,000. So again, these all should classify as hidden gems or underappreciated gems to some extent. And coming in at number 15 is the A.R.T project. The A.R.T project's from the op, and this one's ranked at 3,727th highest game on Board Game Geek. The A.R.T project is a delightful little cooperative game that I don't think this is a keeper forever for me, but the good art and the scenario-based gameplay have given me an enjoyable experience to go through on that cooperative game. It's a slight different twist on the co-op games, with every map giving you a slight adjustment to how it works, but the general idea is that you're trying to go ahead and work together in order to recover art pieces and fight against the white hand. You're going to communicate about what's in your hands, you're going to manage your resources, you're going to be traveling around the board, being mindful of the restrictions that travel will place upon you, and again, each map introduces its own little slight adjustment to the rules. The A.R.T project is the number 15. Our number 14 is a game that I thought would be a play and then get rid of kind of experience, but it's continued to last for me, and that's Waffle Time from AEG. Ranked 6,949, which I believe makes this the third lowest ranking on this list. So again, 6,949. Waffle Time from AEG is a fun little combo of trying to score points by orchestrating your various waffles and the things that go on the waffles. Where your berries go, your bananas, the cream, the syrup, all of those things on your waffle. You're being mindful of some general goal cards that will guide you as to how you score points, and then you have an interesting little selection mechanism as far as choosing items from the row or column as the pieces move around, as you're trying to find the right combination of pieces to grab based on restrictions the game gives you, trying to find the right way to score points based on the scoring goals that vary game to game, and it combines a good gameplay experience with a charming, accessible theme that makes this very gateway friendly as well. Waffle Time is totally one that I did not expect to be here, but I'm still enjoying this. It's kind of, if you've played Charcuterie, it kind of falls into a similar space. A great, adorable theme combined with good gameplay that gives you an overall very good experience. Not the best in terms of these types of games, but more charming and accessible in terms of these types of games. Coming in at number 13, we have a game ranked at 4,935 highest game on Board Game Geek, and this is Orion Duel First Contact. Orion Duel is a 2-player asymmetric game, where I guess I have to pull this out if I want to show you what's going on the board, but it's a 2-player asymmetric, no, it's not asymmetric, I lied. It's a 2-player symmetric abstract strategy game in which you're trying to go ahead and get some of the victory conditions over here. There's going to be different possible victory conditions, and you're trying to lay out your pieces either to connect an edge or to get more, there's good things on the board and bad things. I don't know what they're called, solar systems, asteroids, whatever they are, but you can either make your opponent touch the chain to 3 bad things, or you touch to the good things, or create a line from one side across the board. And so the fact that you're managing different scoring conditions, the fact that you're trying to place your pieces out, all while trying to be mindful of what are you actually going for and how is your opponent trying to stop you, gives me vibes very reminiscent of Tsar. Tsar is another abstract game I really enjoy, and the reason I enjoy it is for that same aspect. It's tactical placement with multiple ways to win the game, which forces the players to examine it differently. Orion Duel is excellent if you like 2-player abstract puzzles. If you want to try it out, it is available on Board Game Arena. In fact, some of these others might also be on Board Game Arena. I don't know all of them, I haven't checked, but Orion Duel is available on Board Game Arena, and it's worth checking out and trying out to see if it's a game for you. Coming in at number 4, we have Beacon, well, number 11 over here. Coming in at number 12. Number 12 on the list is Beacon Patrol. It's the 4th game I'm talking about. It's number 12 on the list is Beacon Patrol. This is the expansion box, but in general, I just refer to Beacon Patrol from Pandasaurus Games. In fact, I still owe you a review of this. I have not actually done the review of the base game expansion. I'll be doing that at some point. This is coming in at 2,406, making this, I believe, the 3rd highest ranked game on this list. But Beacon Patrol is a cooperative tile placement game. Think games like Carcassonne, but cooperative. Granted, there is also the Mist of Carcassonne, which is cooperative, but that's not about that. This is about Beacon Patrol, in which you're going to be placing out various tiles. You have these various tiles over here. You're going to be placing them out onto a little shared grid, working together with other players as you place them out. And also, if you have the expansion, taking advantage of the specific customizations that each ship will introduce different things that work against you and for you in the game, changing up the way the game plays. Ultimately, you're just trying to gather the most points, which is the game's biggest flaw. Is this is a solo cooperative game where it's like, get the highest score, but there are criteria for winning, which I use those. I do wish this was more scenario driven. I do find co-op and solo games, for me, I love them most when they have like a specific scenario. Use these 3 ships and achieve a score of at least 65 points. I would love that, and I'm thinking now I should probably go to Board Game Geek and see if someone has created that, because that would easily be my favorite way to play the game. Slight rules adjustments, specific combinations of ships, and then a score requirement, and giving you challenges to go through. That would elevate this to an even higher. Honestly, if not, I should do this myself if someone hasn't done it already, because I easily think that's the way to play the game. Challenge and scenario driven is the way to go. I'm realizing as I go through this, it's a great game. That would make it even better. I might even do the work on it myself. We'll see if someone else hasn't already done it. Coming in at number 11, we have Blob Party, and I am surprised by how low this is ranked. Coming in at 8,118 is the ranking of this one, putting this very, very low down. This is the second worst ranked game on the list, but it's one that I've talked about a lot, but it definitely falls into hidden gem based on where this is at. Blob Party is a party game that is surprisingly fun as players start off as separate blobs and then spend the whole game trying to become a single blob. You ask a question to a group. So let's say you have 8 people playing, you ask a question, and the 8 people all write down their free-form answers. This is not multiple choice. You don't have it that easy. You write down a free-form answer, and the questions are really a combination of 2 different things. So you might have something like sweet movie. That might be the question, okay? So you have an adverb and then a topic, effectively. An adverb and a noun. And you're going to combine those things together to have sweet movie, or maybe you'll have funny book, and whatever it is you have, and they're often more vague than that, as these are very large categories. You might have things like scary ice cream. Like, bizarre combinations can occur, but then it's up to the players to write whatever they want, anything they possibly can. So for example, for sweet movie, I don't know, what's a sweet movie? Do I go candy theme? Do I go, I'm gonna write the what's it called? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, okay? Now, once you reveal all your answers, anyone else who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory becomes a single blob with me. So maybe 2 other people wrote that, maybe, I don't know, it's a sweet movie, you can argue that, whatever it is, and then we become one shared blob. You have 7 questions to get the entire group into one shared blob, to go from having disparate answers to working together to come together. It is an incredibly fun experience to go through. Highly recommend checking out Blob Party, my number 11. My number 10 is from 20th Century Games, and this is Splito. Splito is ranked 3581, so 3,581, but it's such a great team-based game. You see, in Splito, effectively what you're working on is well, not really team, but you're working together, cooperative. If you ever play games like Between Two Castles or Between Two Castles, Magic and Ludwig, or other games that do this kind of genre, the idea is that you're working together with the person on your left and your right to create shared scoring piles. But there is only actually one winner in the game, the person who has best balanced their different scoring piles from the players on the left and the right. And so you are trying to come up with the best score, so there is a genuine degree of teamwork with him, as well as a genuine degree of teamwork with her, but at the end of the day, only one of you is going to win. And Splito is all about trying to draft cards that give you scoring criteria, as well as cards that fulfill scoring criteria. And so kind of similar to Point Salad if you've ever played that, but the combination of that gameplay combined with a team-based experience in which one person wins alone, Splito is delightfully fun and works great for larger groups. If you have a bunch of people like in that, I don't know, that 4 to 7 count, what's the max in this? 8. 4 to 8 player count, this works delightfully well. It's tolerable at 3, but I think it really takes a 4th player to start being better, and honestly, 5 through 8 is probably where the game is best at, and it's simultaneous play, which makes it very accessible. That's going to be Splito, our number 10. Then my number 9, hopefully I'll throw up a little thing somewhere here, but my number 9 is one that I don't actually have right now, but it's Numbsters. Numbsters is delightful, and I do have a copy. I just can't find where it is, and I have to decide whether I need to buy a new one or just call it a day. Well, not calling it a day. I'm either finding or I'm buying a new one. But Numbsters from Button Shy, coming in at 3,852, is a solo little game of trying to have your entire hand eat your entire hand. And so basically you have this entire game that's based on the joke of 7, 8, 9. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. You have an 8 that is going to eat your other cards. You need to orient that 8 between your hand of cards, and then use either the standard a number eats a larger number, so a 3 eats eats a 4, a 4 eats a 5, a 7 eats a 9. You have a gap there because of the 8 card. Or you use a special eating rule based on the front card of your deck, and it's up to you to try to go through your hand and figure out whether you can eliminate all but 1 card, because the game will get more and more challenging as you're trying to narrow down towards that final victory. A delightfully little solo game, works well in the palm of your hand if you're ever stuck in a line waiting for that roller coaster. This is a great game to play that is probably better than being on your phone, although honestly, nothing that wrong with being on your phone. Just try to be mindful of people around you. I don't know where this is going. Back to Numbsters. Numbsters is great. That's going to be our number 9. Number 8 is an incredible solo and cooperative experience. There's also a weird head-to-head experience that I shouldn't say weird, a different head-to-head experience that I haven't really played as, but this is Skytear Horde. Skytear Horde is our number 9, coming in ranked 2,746. This is a game that gives you kind of Hearthstone on the tabletop vibes. You're going to be choosing various factions and using their deck, and yes, you can also go ahead and deck build if you want that, or you can use their pre-made decks as you go against these hordes of enemy creatures that are trying to kill you, and you're trying to ensure you have enough cards entering back into your pool so that you can take down the enemies and work your way towards the boss. It involves working either together with the other team or solo if you're playing the solo as you try to manage your deck or decks, because you can also play a two-handed solo. I've done all. I've played solo, I've played two-handed solo, I've played cooperatively. I have not done the versus mode that is there as well, where one player controls the horde instead, but ultimately this is a delightful game. If you like Marvel Champion, if you like Marvel Champions, if you like Hearthstones, if you like games like that, Skytear Horde is definitely one worth checking out. Coming in at number 7, we have Mother of Frankenstein, which is actually the worst ranked game on this list, which shocks me. But again, the rankings are a combination of how many people actually even know about those games, as well as what their opinion is on the game. That's why it's hidden gems. It's not about games that are ranked poorly, it's about games that aren't known enough. And Mother of Frankenstein comes in at 9,202, but this is an incredible escape room experience. I'm holding Volume 2 over here because I've already played through Volume 1. I have not actually played through Volume 2 yet, which I need to do at some point because, well, I like the game and want to actually finish this. Why is this in shrink? Is this in shrink? Did I not even start Volume 2? So I have Volume 2 and 3. I thought I started this, maybe not. Either way, Mother of Frankenstein over here. This is a series of 3 escape rooms in a box. Each one stands on its own, but they do tell a larger story as well. And each one gives you around 8 hours of gameplay as you combing through the notes of these historical records, trying to figure out what happened and what the puzzles are in the game. If you've been interested in games like the Emerald Flame, Mother of Frankenstein kind of gives you that gameplay, less production, but also like a third the cost, or to a little less than half the cost on this game, making it much more accessible. Highly recommend checking out Mother of Frankenstein if you like escape room style games and want to dive into, well, an escape room style game. Coming in at number 6, we have General Orders World War II. This is ranked 3,145 and gives you a small worker placement in a box game of trying to go ahead and, well, place your workers in order to tactically outmaneuver your opponent through the recruiting of troops, but also the various special abilities that the game board is going to present. And there are 2 different game boards with slightly asymmetric rules going on in this box, but the game, it gives you a tight back and forth between 2 players that plays in half an hour, teaches in like 5 minutes, and easily gives you an incredibly tense run for your money. If you like games like Air, Land, and and you want something that's going to give you that level of tenseness but in an entirely different genre, General Orders World War II, excellent 2-player worker placement puzzle. Great game. The only thing I wish was different is, and I said this every video, I wish it was a different theme. Nothing against the theme, but I just prefer World War II themes as much, or just make it more cartoonized like Air, Land, and Sea did with Critters at War. Coming in at number 5, another game that I don't currently have on the table, but I do have, is Junk Drawer. Junk Drawer is coming in ranked at 4,983, and Junk Drawer is an incredible polyomino experience, also from 25th Century Games, that's going to have you placing polyominoes down based on the rules of the various sections of the drawer. Each rule gives you a different way to place your polyominoes, what it is you're trying to do. Are you trying to circle the edges, make sure pieces don't touch, have certain colors next to each other? What is it you're trying to do based on the rules? And then you're going to be drawing polyominoes and one at a time placing them into the various boxes, trying to predict the best order to try to fill a box based on the current information and what you can project is likely going to be coming out as the round progresses. It's an excellent, highly accessible polyomino game with a high degree of variety thanks to the different rules that go on in each box, and it plays at a variety of player counts well, plays at a variety of skill levels well, and is accessible and friendly to both gateway gamers as well as skilled board gamers. Moving on to number 4 over here. Number 4 is Rebel Princess. Rebel Princess coming in at rank 2,125 over here. This is arguably the lowest ranked. This is like when I talk about like hidden gems, this is arguably one that might be the least considered for hidden gems in my opinion. It's hard to fully know what counts as hidden gem. But based on my own criteria, it was anything ranked under 1,000, and again, most of them being under 2,000. But Rebel Princess coming in at 2,125. This is the deluxe edition from Bezier that gives you the trick-taking game that's basically hearts with abilities every single round. You see, ultimately, it's all about winning the trick. This is a game about trying to win the trick. But what changes things up is every single round, first of all, in each game, you have a princess. You're playing as a princess with their own asymmetric role. But then in addition to the princess, you also have a rule modification to each round. Maybe in this round, the lowest card wins the trick, which totally changes the hand you have. Maybe in this round, we're passing our hands to each other after each trick, which again, totally changes the presentation of what is it you're going to hold on to keep, to pass around, how are things going to play out. Every rule modification that affects every round changes up the way the whole entire game plays, which basically means it's hearts with powers and abilities, and I like trick-taking, nowadays I do at least, and I like powers and abilities, making Rebel Princess one that's going to cater to both of those. Coming in at number 3, we have Ancient... it dropped. Coming in number 3, we have another Button Shy game with Ancient Realm. That makes 2 Button Shy, so 20th Century has had 2 games on this list, and Button Shy has had 2 games on this list. I don't know if anyone else has 2 games on this list. I don't think so. But Ancient Realms over here is ranked 4,610 on BGG, and this is a delightful solo game from Stephen Armani, the creator of Sprawlopolis, in which you're going to be building out your ancient realm by being mindful of the wonders you're building, as well as the various people and buildings that are going into your city, trying to combine the powers and abilities, as well as the round powers and abilities that are going to be in play, to your advantage as efficiently as possible. Delightful little solo game. I still need to pick up the expansion stuff for it, or do I have? I have the Monuments and Misfortunes. I do have the Monuments and Misfortunes. I did check. I think there's another expansion that I don't have that I do need to pick up. But this is Ancient Realm from Button Shy, a delightful little puzzle. If you like games like Sprawlopolis, but you don't want the same spreading out every single time, but a very different experience that builds into the same kind of decision-making skills, this is definitely one that's going to work for you there. Coming in at number 2, we have Resident Evil, the board game. This is coming in ranked 4,367. These are all based, by the way, based on the time you're filming. I'm sure there'll be fluctuations and twists and adjustments, but we'll see. But Resident Evil, the board game, is an incredible experience that feeds into what Nemesis gives a lot of people, Resident Evil gives me. That tension aspect, that dungeon crawler where it's not just about shooting everything, but rather it's about trying to survive. It's about trying to run from the creatures as much as fight them because you don't have the weapon, the gear, the ammos, and you need to tactically plan how and where you're going to stand your ground because you have limited resources. But at the same time, you're playing on this map that's unfolding that you don't know how it's going to unfold. The game keeps that a secret from you, making this an incredible experience. If you like Resident Evil 3, definitely check out Resident Evil the board game because it's that but better in every single way. That's my number 2 hidden gem for 2023. My number 1 hidden gem for 2023 is My City Roll and Build. My City Roll and Build ranked at 1,781, making it the highest ranked game on this list. My City Roll and Build builds upon what My City does, but it does so in a way that is just as engaging, if perhaps differently engaging. You can be playing across 12 scenarios instead of 24, but it's going to give you the same general arc of escalating rules from a simple polyomino placement game to one that expands and gives you more and more to think about as each scenario goes through. It's incredibly accessible, like My City Before It. It's also available on BGA, like My City Before It, and it gives you an incredibly great time in both the physical version, the board game arena version, as well as being a good introduction to My City, while also catering to a more travel size friendly version and one that takes less time commitment because of the 12 games instead of the 24. And that is your 15 hidden gems for 2023. These are the 15 games that are not that well ranked or sometimes not that well known that I think are worth your attention because they're all excellent experiences in their own different ways. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.